The life force of your bond. A power like light itself. Unseen for generations. A dyad in the force.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dyad in the Force, episode 111. We're getting up there, man. Over 100 episodes. How's it going, man?
I'm doing all right. Yourself? Man, it's been a day just running around, picking things up and cleaning stuff. My wife invited some of her friends and family over for Super Bowl, which means I got to do all the cooking and cleaning.
You gonna be a grill master or something? You gonna do some tailgating food?
I mean, I do all the cooking anyways.
Yeah, it looks like Choco's quiet. What's going on?
Uh-oh. Can y'all hear me? Let me launch this real quick. Okay. How am I sounding? Am I still quiet at all?
Still a little quiet. It can hear you, just seems turned down is what Daxon's saying.
Ah, okay.
Did anything change on your end?
Nothing's changed. There was one change and I just reverted it just now. So is anything different on your end?
Let me see. Yes. That should be better if you say something.
Testes 1 2.
The fellow fan says I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, beautiful.
So this week on Dyad in the Force, we have a special edition of Real Fans Would Know in the form of the High Republic. And there's only only statements from phase 1. So don't worry, you don't have to have read Battle of Jeddah or Cataclysm yet. Wink, wink. Yeah. And then we're going to talk about the Bad Batch this past 2 episodes, Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences. Do we have any announcements to bring to bear for our audience this week?
Any announcements? No, there's nothing really crazy going on. I will say we did get a first look on Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures this past week on This Week in Star Wars. Yeah, it looks fun. It's a kid show, obviously. I'm gonna watch it.
I don't care. I'm watching it. They could go on screen, light up a lightsaber, and be like, "Hey, A is for Apple." And be like, "Yeah, it is." Don't forget to send me those last 3 statements so I can plug them in. Can't wait to show my 1-year-old. That's the most exciting part because I don't have kids. I'm just kidding. No, it's the most exciting part is that the High Republic, as I think it was Kevin or it was Charles Soule that said that the High Republic would be the next generation's intro to Star Wars. Like, babies today will be watching Young Jedi Adventures like from infancy, and that'll be their thing.
They are going to grow up and they are going to be debating because they'll have full knowledge of what happened to the Jedi and where the Jedi were at their height. So they're going to have all different debates than we do. Like when I was little, we didn't even have the prequels. So we would debate about what happened beforehand. People were like, I heard rumors that Darth Vader fell into a volcano. And eventually that type of thing did happen. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny to see what happens when people can grow up having had all of this stuff already in the zeitgeist for Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I mean, think about what could be in terms of like, as you mentioned, the zeitgeist of it all. Are today's kids or today's younglings, as I'll say, are they going to grow up thinking that the Jedi kidnap people? Or are they going to grow up with the correct information? Are they going to like, is there going to be an episode where the Jedi go to like recruit? Let's put this up really quickly. Are they going to what is this? This is image overlay. Okay. Are they going to this is the preview of Young Jedi Adventures. Are we going to get an episode where Yoda, for example, goes to recruit this teddy bear looking Jedi, second from the right or third from the right, including the droid, and be like, your kid, I would like to train them as Jedi. And the parents like, yay, we'll give him to you. And then that's it, right? First of all.
Now, this little teddy bear looking guy,
it's so
I'm
cute.
pretty sure. First of all, yes.
It's so fluffy.
But I'm pretty sure that's also D. Bradley Baker. So cool.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope. Like, is that confirmed? Are you guessing?
No. Sorry, I shouldn't. It is confirmed, right? So we have Kai Brightstar is, you know, my young brother right there. We have Lise Soleil, maybe it's Liz, and she's the blue one. What species do you think she is?
Looks Pantoran with the facial lines.
Looks Pantoran, and the hair color also tracks. But there's just something that looks, I don't know.
Yeah, variety? What are you trying to
I
sneak
wish.
that in there?
But yeah, the little guy's Nubs, and that's D. Bradley Baker.
My gosh. I thought Marianne in the chat, I thought you were just saying just Nubs out of nowhere. Like Yub Nub for life. His name's Yub Nubs.
Betty
Nugs.
Nugs.
Betty Nugs. Wow. Nubs is gonna be a favorite for sure. I wonder what D. Bradley Baker is gonna do with that voice. Hi. My name's Nubs. It's a mix between Ray Romano and
Dewey Cox? Like what is happening?
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Anger leads to me being hungry. Nubs is hungry. Aw. That reminds me of I forget who did a Ray Romano impression on one of the late night shows, but they were like, I think it was John Hamm. He was like, this is my impression of Ray Romano hitting his golf ball after he oh. All right, yeah, Ray Romano and Wrecker. Thanks, Texan. Also, Kenny in the chat, what's up, Kenny? Shout out to Walmart. For some reason, all I hear is clones. You mean Nubs is gonna sound like a clone? He's just gonna come in and be like, Yoda. I'm having trouble with my my lightsaber.
I mean, bear in mind that he also does the hamster Hammond on Overwatch. The dude has range.
He could. But I don't imagine he's gonna do clones.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the robot, the mech that Hammond is in Overwatch, Jonathan Lepow, is also the robot in the show. The little droid that's just feet and a head.
Hold on a second.
It's the head of an astromech and just feet.
You mean to tell me that's not someone's like companion? Oh, it is someone. Is that the boy on the right?
So the boy on the far right and the little droid, I don't believe are part of their main crew. I don't recall who plays the boy, but yeah, that's Jonathan Lepau is a little droid.
That's for sure. I mean, I think it's a boy who wants to be a pilot, not wearing any robes and stuff like that. I can't get over Nubs' smile with the the two teeth just jutting out. It's so adorable. I am so watching the show. Let's see here. Naughty Wookie says, Wookiees not just have physical strength, they have regenerative abilities that allow them to recover from injury at a remarkable rate. Also there. Culture has this life debt, which basically means when a Wookiee's life was saved by someone else, regardless of the species, they would die for them. So in my point of view, a Wookiee dark side. Let's go. Let's go, Naughty Wookie. Come on. You can do it. We're just waiting. We're just waiting on you, dude.
Yeah, I'm on pins and needles. I wanna see where this is going. Part of me feels like it's gonna take a sharp left hand turn.
So in my point of view,
and that's
a Wookiee
why
dark side, let you flame. User would be a force even Anakin Skywalker would be hesitant to go against. Hey, Anakin knows the power of the dark side. So maybe he would know to steer clear from Jedi Master Kersantos. He's not a force user, but I imagine take Black Kersantin, give him force powers. That's pretty much what a dark side user would be for a Wookiee.
You know, I feel like it's interesting because there's a lot we don't quite understand. I mean, think about do you remember the person that stole Ahsoka's lightsaber?
Yes.
She had like long frog legs and could like jump really high. What if that person had the Force? Would they jump 30 times higher? Is it a percentage buff or a static buff?
I don't know if it's a buff necessarily. I think it is just like reinforcement, right?
Is it reinforcement? Okay.
I remember Obi-Wan describing it in a book once where they kind of made, or no, it was in the High Republic. They were kind of using the Force to reinforce their legs so that they could push more. Like, instead of using their leg muscles, they were just using the Force to just launch them.
So that would. What is? I mean, I just have questions about the logistics. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the case, and it's not really using their leg muscles to jump really high, then the height that they could attain would be based off of their force. You know, how attuned they are to it, and it would have a maximum. Right, but if it was a reinforcement to their leg muscles, then it would be a percentage buff, meaning if you can jump this high normally, you would get like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, is it adding 20 meters to everyone's jump, or is it your jump times 5?
Well, here's the logistical part that I'm trying to reconcile with. Do they even do it? Right? Because I believe it was Brotherhood, Obi-Wan talks about how exhausting it is to use the Force to run, use the Force to jump, use the Force to do anything, you know, as he's escaping. Was it Brotherhood that he was escaping? He was on, yeah.
Yeah.
He talks about how exhausting it is to just use the Force to augment anything, right? And so if a species could jump that high, would they, exhaust their stamina to add several more feet to that height? Maybe if they really needed to jump and scale like Helm's Deep, but I don't think I don't think that they would necessarily find the use for that if they had already the physical prowess to do that. So is Kit Fisto the best swimmer of his people due to the Force? I honestly don't think he would use the Force. I think he's just his keen senses are enhanced by the Force. But again, I don't think people that are physiologically made to do a thing need the Force to do it and would be saving their stamina for like other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So y'all think a Wookiee wouldn't be a threat as a dark Force user?
What? A Wookiee is a threat always.
Yes, Wookiees are a threat.
No, it's not. That's basically what it comes down to. Wookiees are a threat always. And a dark-sided Wookiee would still be terrifying. I think a mean Wookiee is terrifying. I think a nice Wookiee is terrifying. I guess.
Naughty Wookiee. I saw your name on TikTok, Darth Naughty Wookiee. Is that your OC? Are you just trying to get people to understand the ferocity of your OC? Because Wookiees are pretty ferocious by themselves. And just to add on top of that, so are Ewoks. Could you imagine a dark side Ewok?
Oh man, just yubbing up in like force aided spears and stuff. Yeah, they'd be throwing lightsaber pikes and pulling them back. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, lightsaber logs. Where it just goes, boom, boom.
It's just a fat beam.
Jeez. What you're saying is Magneto, if he had the Force, would be able to lift a full city. Magneto can lift more than a full city. Just saying, Kenny. But no, anybody with the dark side has, listen, fine. Wookiees are a threat as Dark Force users. They're a huge threat. I bet in The Force Awakens, if Chewie had the Force, that bowcaster, instead of like ripping through Kylo's gut, it would have exploded Kylo and we wouldn't have a movie anymore. The Force aided bowcaster. I just want your opinion on what damage they can do. They can do significant damage physically. Right? Since we are in the midst of talking about physiological enhancements with the Force, if a Wookiee can rip the arms off of what is Unkar Plutt? Is he a Dowadan?
No, he's a blobfish. I can't think of his species right now. But you know what? On that same token, I would also kind of argue. I mean, is Vader as strong as a Wookiee? Like physically, with his robot arms. He's up there. It's weird. It's hard to really equate those things. That's why we don't do power scaling in Star Wars. It don't work.
Can we quantify how much strength and force it would take? Well, no, because he uses a lightsaber. Because I'm trying to quantify how much strength it would take Vader to slice his way from inside of a Sando Aqua monster, and if that requires force at all, considering you're using a lightsaber. Because Qui-Gon with that just went and then just melt the locks.
Also, Kylo Ren cut his way out of the inside of a Zillo beast in much the same way. And how do you broach Zillo's beast scales from the back? Is it different? Did one hit the surface still?
No,
I don't know.
Zillo beast. I think the thing with Zillo beast is the same way it is with like a bell pepper.
Okay. What? Okay.
Hey, no, just in the simplest of terms. Cutting it from skin side or cutting it from the outside, which is easier?
Yeah, that's true. And all the tension is in the surface. And yeah.
I think about these things.
No, it's just that just threw me.
Listen, always put the skin down on the cutting board and cut the bell pepper from the inside. It's really easy. Still on the Wookiee thing, my 2 cents is I don't see them being any more threatening than any other dark side user. As a physical opponent, they would probably be exponentially stronger, which is where I land on things. Physiologically speaking, Wookiees are they are strong as hell. They can rip the arms off of whatever Unkar Plutt is. Certainly with ease, humans. And Trandoshans. They are very, very strong. What they could do with the Force? Well, we get a glimpse of it in Gunji. And what's his name?
Buriaga? What?
Tarkov? In Edge of Balance? It's not Tarkov.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Arkov.
Arkov with an F, I believe. Yeah. Sorry, it sounded like you're saying V, like he's like.
Well, I was saying V. Yeah, it was
like he's Russian or something.
I was thinking of Escape from Tarkov.
Okay.
Wow. Fellow fan hurt. Naughty Wookiee. I never thought I'd say that sentence in my life. They'd be awesome and interesting to see.
I mean, I want to see a Dotan as a Force user now.
Here's a question for everyone.
But specifically as a Jedi, being so large and imposing, yet having being gentle as a Jedi.
Yeah. Here's a question for everyone in the chat. Who do you think would physiologically be the strongest Force user? From a physical standpoint. We have a lot of large species. May the odds ever be in your favor. Babu Freak. Is it like a Spider-Man thing? Do you think Babu Freak like exponentially can, like, if he can lift like 50 times his weight with the Force, he can lift like 100,000 times his weight? I mean, size matters not, but I wonder how that works. Can you fit 20,000 midichlorians inside of a Babu Freak?
I mean, how big is a midichlorian? I assume so.
They are microscopic. Hey, Fern. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you're feeling okay despite the vertigo.
Oh, that's rough. I'm sorry to hear it. My wife also gets bouts of vertigo, and it's no fun for anyone.
How is it that our statements, and I'm gonna see the next two, are so goddamn similar?
I was worried that would be a thing. That's okay. No, as long as they're not the same, I think.
Feeling a little better now? Hey, if you're up for it, you can definitely call in for our Real Fans Would Know segment. We are doing a High Republic edition, so all of our statements, all of our incorrect statements, are of the High Republic variety. What was the question? And hello there. Conspiracy Cantina, DePaul, the question was which species would physiologically be the strongest Force user? And come here, my little friend.
You know, I do have a question for everyone. And it's something that Mace Windu put on Twitter. He asked if you prefer Palpatine being someone who basically sees all and everything just goes according to his plan, or him being the person who just has all the contingencies and is constantly kind of scrambling to make sure things work.
Yeah.
You know, I guess, like, what level of competence do you prefer him at? I'm curious what you think. I feel like your answer is probably going to be the same as mine. Yeah, let me see if I can.
You might have
pull
to
it
ask
up
that
and read it word for word.
You might have to ask that again because I was lost in thought. Also, I was reading chat. I'm sorry. How's it going, Miraculous Muncie? Wookiees are rare force users, and typically anything rare is almost super powerful, so the more unlikely, the better. Well, Naughty Wookie is making some friends in chat. I'm also behind on phase 2. I'm reading Path of Deceit right now and really vibing with it. I'm glad you're really vibing with it. It's a really great book. But all of these statements are just phase 1 for the sole purpose of not being too difficult. And you're not fit to be on camera right now? No.
Am I ever fit to be on camera? That's
You're more fit to be on camera than us right now.
Facts.
All contingencies cause... Because I refuse to think he played everyone. Okay, so ask me that question again. Sorry.
I'm trying to find it so I can read it word for word. So give me 1 second.
Hey, fellas, as far as I know, I think beings like the Ones and the Force Priestesses would be most physically powerful. Tommy P? Not sure, because those priestesses look pretty frail. We don't know anything really about their physiological strength. But it looks like we did get a lot of Wookiees. Is Bendu a species? We don't know. He's just called the Bendu. We don't even know if it's a he.
I mean, Bendu seems non-binary to me. I'm just saying.
Yeah. They basically say, I am the Bendu. I'm the one in the middle. The Bendu.
I mean, in the middle could be more ways than just one. Just saying.
Oh, like the DePaul? What? I don't understand that. Jackson's sticking with Jedi Hutt or the Bendu. Okay. Hi, sorry I'm late. Phone doing its usual lag. Don't worry about it. You're just doing your usual late. I'm just kidding. You're always here. We appreciate it. And remember, guys, the Bendu doesn't owe you androgyny. I don't think anybody owes me androgyny. Ain't nobody owe me nothing.
All right. Well, I can't find the statement, so I'll just kind of say it as I remember. Do you prefer Palpatine being someone who was like everything he had basically foreseen? It was all part of his plan, the way everything played out, or that he was someone who was more or less scrambling to try and make things work in the moment, using mostly contingencies. Like how much was planned? How much was contingencies?
I think I'd say it was 70.
Which you prefer?
I think it was 70-30. I think the way Palpatine is portrayed nowadays in canon is favorable to contingencies. Because there are a lot of points in Clone Wars, for example, where Yoda surprises him. Yoda doesn't break, and so he has to change his plan midway. I think he also has to change his plan when Fives escapes. Also, we just saw in Tales of the Jedi, they very much didn't realize that that Yaddle was going to find them. So there may have been a lot of contingencies. So I'd say it was like 70% plant, like foresight, and 30% contingencies, just because, you know, always in motion is the future. You can never really, even with the dark side, you can never really know how much of it is self-fulfilling, how much of it is, you know, by your own design, and how much of it is by others' external design. So I don't think he would have been able to account for every single varying path.
Yeah, this is true. I did finally find it. Man, Josh tweets a lot because this was like 3 days ago, and I had to go down so low to find it. Word for word, it says, "Do y'all prefer Palpatine as the guy who planned everything to happen exactly the way it goes down, or to prefer to imagine him as someone who plans as much as possible, but is able to turn any hiccups or unforeseen issues in his favor?" And
The latter.
and I'm also very much the latter. I love the fact that Palpatine, in a way, there's like, he's the next level above Thrawn and above, Tarkin, where like Thrawn can read individuals and make plans based off of all the things that he's learned about them, but he can't account for politics really, or can't deal with internal politics, and he can't account for the Force because he doesn't get it, right? Tarkin is like that on the military side and kind of on the political side, but there are some glaring weaknesses that he has as well. Palpatine has kind of both of those and can account for the Force, but he can't account for the innate goodness in people, is kind of how it feels to me. And that is what always offsets the things that he does, as he assumes people are going to be selfish if they can.
Yeah.
And if they can get away with it. And when people like Padme aren't, and it inspires hope in the others that they can also be better, it throws massive monkey wrenches in what he's planning.
A good example of this is in Return of the Jedi, where he says everything that has transpired, everything that has happened has done so according to my design. But he wouldn't have designed it without the rebels planning the assault to begin with, right? So he can't really plan around something that is not known to him. So he makes a plan to make them go on the assault, right? He made them know about the shield generator and all that stuff, and that's about as far as he can plan. If he lets loose that information and you're like, nah, gee, we're not gonna go for that shield generator. We're just gonna go attack your other fleets. He's like, well, what the hell? But he probably has a contingency for that too. That's where Zara comes in.
But is that also the same planning? You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's say that day in the Senate that we just saw in the Bad Batch, Palpatine is going to show up either way, and he has 2 speeches written. One if dude gets exposed, the other if he doesn't, and he's just like, okay, just using this one. That's still planning, pre-planning,
Yeah. I mean, semantically, both are relatively moot. If you think about it, if you choose a guy that is mostly contingencies, that is a guy that is planning everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the same thing, except one is just less confident.
Yeah, basically. It's like, would you guys prefer that I drink this beer, or would you want me to chug it? You're gonna drink it anyway. Fern says he's adaptable. I feel like they should have created a different threat in the sequels. That could have been a possibility. So Naughty Wiki says, what do y'all think about Palpatine coming back? I think he was always meant to come back. Choco has a good point about this, and I'll let him go off. I think they could have created a different threat in the sequels, but if we were going to continue with like Luke Skywalker and a continuation of the Jedi, it would still have to be a Sith or a dark side user in some case, and that would still bring into question the prophecy of ultimate balance, as some people say, or you're supposed to destroy the Sith. So it depends. You run into narrative blockers either way with a prophecy that promises eternal happiness, I guess. But
I mean, you can't have a story that has a happily ever after and like expect to tell compelling stories post happily ever after. You know what I mean? There's no conflict anymore.
well, really quickly, basically Anakin's redemption was for no reason, and this is what I mean by that. If you create a different threat in the sequels, what is it? Now you can go with the Yuuzhan Vong and totally just like gross out everybody that is potentially going to see your movie, or you can go with something because again
They don't work in canon.
we're going to continue the story with Luke Skywalker, even if it's not Rey, right? Even if it's Luke Skywalker, anything you do with Luke Skywalker has to be something tied to the Force and the dark side, and thus that calls into question Anakin's redemption anyway. So there's no way that even if the threat is a new threat and not Palpatine, the return of the Sith, the return of the dark side, whether it be like the lost tribe of the Sith, or if it's a new cult that is not the Sith, but it's a dark side ideology, it still calls into question Anakin's redemption. But Anakin's redemption was never to destroy the Sith for good. It was to save his son.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my take on it is I don't like the way that they did it. In the sequels, like they could have prepared it further back.
Was horrible.
Although in every iteration of the sequels, there was always a deeper actual Sith threat, and they made it very clear that Kylo Ren and Snoke were not Sith. So like there was always that thing going to happen. Palpatine returning to me is the most natural course of events. He was the Phantom Menace, and he's bookending the story. His actual death in I mean, I don't know how old everyone is here. When we were young, before the prequels came out, there was a lot of debate over Palpatine's actual death because it didn't make much sense. What was his plan? Why was he asking Luke to strike him down? Like, what was the end of that going to be? And then we get all the stuff with the prequels, and for someone who clearly saw that Vader had conflict in him, right? Vader was on the fence, and Palpatine is someone that can plan for all contingencies. And his master was obsessed with trying to learn everlasting life. I mean, if you put all that together, it's only logical that he would have a contingency in place for when that happens. You know, as Dexon says here, you know, Palpatine he says he was a horrid Sith Lord because he made zero attempt to make a successor. I have to kind of disagree with that, because I feel like Palpatine was the tip of the spear of the Sith. Like, the rule of two was to consolidate power into one vessel until you could take down the Jedi. And that's what he did. Honestly, after he takes down the Jedi, there's no reason for the rule of two to exist beyond that. I mean, they could choose to continue it, but I like that in the sequel trilogy, they really ironed it out to where what Palpatine actually wanted was the return of a Sith empire. He corrupted the Republic, made it take over and turn on the Jedi, but ultimately all of those people were selfish and stupid. He wanted people who were loyal to him and him alone, and that's why he was building up the Sith Eternal in the background.
Yeah, and also just the directive of the rule of two to begin with is one to hold the power, one to covet it. But that does not mean the directive is not to create a successor. Now, if your successor can successfully take that power from you, that successor becomes the one to hold the power. Now, Vader Vader did essentially, but he destroyed himself in the process. He was the Sith. He was the rule of two. He had Vader. Vader couldn't take the power from him, and he had all of the power. So as long as you had someone to hold the power and someone to covet it, it really didn't matter if he molded a successor. He taught Vader he taught Vader. He trained him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, after Vader's injury, at least the original intention was that Anakin had like twice as much force potential as Palpatine, and then he sustained his injuries and then was less than him. So it would have been a downgrade for them. But I think with that last comment, you said like Vader literally died just for him to return again. I think I see what's happening. I think we're conflating the prophecy with his redemption, right? Vader didn't care about that. He wasn't trying to, when he was throwing Palpatine over, he wasn't thinking, oh, I'll fulfill that prophecy. No, he was just trying to save his son. And he did. He succeeded. That's all he was trying to do. And so he won in that sense. Now, the prophecy was to return balance. And that's what he did. If you see the influence, because the Sith were ruling the galaxy, spreading darkness, genocide, hatred, all this stuff, destroying planets. And by removing them, we came back to a state of balance. And we got to start over again and basically a new, have a new republic and a new galaxy. Doesn't mean that Palpatine couldn't come back. His death was not required. We just needed to remove his influence. Like, think about if you have a swimming pool that's pH starts to get way off, and you're like, all right, screw this, and you dump all the water and you refill it, and now it's balanced. You're back to having clean water. Doesn't mean it's not going to get messy again.
Yeah. And if you want to think about like the grand overture, you think about what those actions led to. Anakin saved his son. His son was responsible for he was hero of the Republic. His son taught Leia. Leia and his son taught Rey. Rey ultimately destroyed the Emperor. Through him will ultimate balance be what was the prophecy again? And through him
ultimate balance will be attained,
achieved,
I believe. Achieved.
So if you think about the linguistics of that, through Anakin, his children trained Rey, in which Rey destroyed Palpatine ultimately. And so through Anakin, through him saving his son, lots of things played out to achieve that kind of quote-unquote ultimate balance, even though we know that really it's not going to feel that way because the Force is always going to do its thing. I feel like it takes a scene and makes it less emotional. It's like a person sacrificing his life for someone and they end up having a second life, so the death means nothing.
So he was sacrificing himself for Luke to live. And Luke did live. So like it couldn't be for nothing. I get it if you feel like it does something like those feelings are super valid, right? I'm never ever gonna like try and crush any of that. So yeah, that's totally a valid opinion. I just will say, canonically speaking, it doesn't affect the prophecy. It doesn't affect Anakin's redemption to have Palpatine return. But if you were feeling like you wanted Palpatine to die as like Anakin's last revenge or something like that, that would kind of miss the point of Star Wars. That it was never about revenge. It was never about hating the person. It's never about killing this person. It was about saving everyone else. It was the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Luke won the day with love.
One thing that I love to point to is, I can't remember what I was watching that had this. Oh, no. It's a Chinese drama that I was watching called Blood of Youth. And a sword god is teaching a disciple. And he's like, I'll give you one of my legendary swords so that you have the power. The disciple can't draw it. And he says, you have to think about why you draw that sword. And the disciple says, to protect, and he draws a sword. Right? Because a lot of people at first hand will be like, no, I draw the sword to kill. It's like, well, the sword is but a tool, and you have to think about how you're going to use it. And it's the same thing with this prophecy, or with Anakin. He chose to protect. You know, the last spark of Padme's star, as it were, if I want to get poetic with it.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, the Force is life itself, right? The energy field of life, and everything that is in the Force, everything, any prophecy or whatever, its goal is going to be to preserve life, you know?
Mm-hmm. And just for the final thing here, Wookie, but y'all don't think Palpatine's return was repetitive? I thought it was it was narratively made sense. Would I have?
It's what I predicted before The Force Awakens came out, to be quite honest.
Okay, so I'll try to speak for Choco here, but would we have preferred something else? Probably. If the first sequel movie had set up a different threat, and we could narratively guess that a different threat was in the books, then yeah, it could have been a possibility. But again, the way they set it up, it all paths led to Palpatine. There's only a few things that they could have done differently with that setup. I would have been fine with another threat. I would have been fine if they had found a different way in The Force Awakens to point it to something else. But as it stands, that's what we got. And it's certainly what we got in Legends. So the difference between Legends and canon is that Luke didn't fall to the dark side and become Palpatine's puppet. But we'll leave it at that. I do want to address Dixon Download, who said Palpatine didn't follow the rule at all. Dooku and Maul alive at the same time. Maul trying to make his own apprentice. Dooku training Asajj. Just an assassin. They were taught dark side teaching. It doesn't matter what they teach. Okay. First of all, Maul was as good as dead. And whatever Palpatine teaches Dooku, whatever Dooku teaches Asajj, whatever any Sith is taught about the rule of two and what they have to do, it all depends on the individual to adhere to that rule. So it's not Palpatine's fault that Dooku's training his own apprentice. It's not Palpatine's fault that Maul is actually alive, you know? He was dead in the Phantom Menace. He moved on to Tyrannus, and Tyrannus trained his own assassin to take down Palpatine. And when Palpatine found out, he's like, she's getting a little bit powerful there. Take her out. So it's just like if you were to blame Yoda for Pong Krell. You can't, because these individuals, they take the teachings, they run with it, they make their own interpretations. They fall to the dark side, or they leave the Jedi Order. They do whatever they want with it. So it's kind of like you have to blame the individual and not the person at the top. Because
dark side teaching does not equate Sith teaching. I feel like that's important to say. And Dooku was never the true apprentice.
It's just we want to be pure blood Sith insides boil. You know,
I'm just like, if you're looking for an apprentice to take over for you when you're gone, you typically don't pick the guy that's way older than you. I look at Dooku mostly as a tool, manipulated, used, and discarded.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a convenience thing.
He had access to the Jedi and all this stuff that was required for Palpatine's plan to work.
I'm just curious on y'all's takes. No worries, man. this community has conversations on everything. If you don't like the sequels, if you don't like any of the story, that's all you, man. I mean, we're not gonna bash you or drag you for it.
Yeah.
Daxon also, you know, he's a ride or die Sith, and we give him some crap, but we're all friends.
I do love the Sith though. I mean, there's a reason it's Darth Choco. I just sometimes they do ridiculous things.
Yeah. You skipped the part about Grand Inquisitor having Sith eyes. I'm pretty sure Powans have those eyes.
And again, we call them Sith eyes, but it would be true of any dark side user could get them.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Daxon, let's go. Let's go into Legends territory. Let's go to Sotor. Let's go to Thexan and Archon. I think Archon had eyes too, but he ain't no Sith. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's true. Even
their
their
sister?
crazy little sister.
Yeah. Was your sister's name?
Valen.
Valen, yeah. I just feel Kylo is a half dark side user. He was definitely like, you know,
He's a dark
thrift
side
store
user.
dark side user, I think.
No, it's like you can't dig half a hole. You know what I mean? Like you can't be half a dark side. You use it or you don't. You know. But if you saw Kylo Ren, you know, soloing that Zillow beast, where doing the thing that Vader failed at, I don't know. We just didn't get enough content.
I think I know where Wookiee is coming from. I think Wookiee wanted a truly evil villain for once, right? Because we're always dealing with redemptions. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Wookiee. If you wanted someone that was a villain full and like through and through, and the end wasn't another redemption. It was just, hey, destroy them and it's over. And I halfway agree with that, to be honest. But Star Wars has always been about redemption, and it's not even about the Force users either. A lot of people in Star Wars through the Clone Wars and throughout Resistance, it's all about Tamra. It's all about redemption, man.
Oh, okay. Hear me out. Hear me out. This is something that two things really quick. One, as much as I love The Last Jedi, I would have loved if The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi were merged into one movie, and then Tross was turned into two movies. Because I think that's something that could be done, and if you took Tross and we got the full year of Kylo Ren being the leader, and then Palpatine starts to rear up because there's another threat that's coming. We get to see the First Order's effect on the galaxy as they try to take over. I think that would be really cool. And then the other thing is, I kind of wish Rey and Kylo Ren, she took his hand, they both turned to the dark side, and then years later we get another movie about their daughter turning to the light and betraying her family.
And her name
but
is
that
Mara Jade?
that would have been way more.
Or no, not Mara Jade. Jaina? That would have been Jaina?
That would have been Jaina. Could have been, no. That would have been Elena. Right? That's
Jesus,
like
it would have been Jaina with a G. Come on now. It has to be on the nose. Hold on. I wanna Miraculous Muncie says, honestly, I don't even care that they brought Palpatine back anymore. I'm over that anger, but I'm still angry in the way they brought him back. It felt super forced and sudden. Agreed. Totally agreed.
What? You mean you weren't playing Fortnite when?
Yeah. Yeah, totally agreed. The execution was horrible. Having that broadcast, I feel like I like Choco's thing where Force Awakens and The Last Jedi was 2 movies, and like you have 2 more movies to introduce like Palpatine, basically. Why did Palps and Dooku have Force lightning, but nobody else? Is it a skill not everyone can have? I mean, it just requires a certain set of emotions, really.
It's not specifically Sith either.
Yeah.
You know, Dooku, when Dooku first did it, he was a Jedi, and he did it on accident, and he like vaporized a room of people, and he kept doing it as a Jedi for a while. What was the scene where Qui-Gon was in trouble and like was like near unconscious, but then he could hear like someone frying because Dooku was out just like barbecuing him. Yeah, it's not a Sith only thing. It's an emotion thing. It is, I guess, a skill. I guess your control over it would be a skill, but I honestly think when it comes to the Force, it's more like
But you said it. It's your control over it.
it's
The dark side is trying to control.
Fine tuning things. It takes a lot more effort than just doing things. Is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Rey destroying the transport. Actually, in the recent Luke Skywalker book, when he's holding the guy, he talks about how much control it's taking him to not crush him on accident because of how powerful he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like being more controlled with it probably means you don't kill everyone with it. You learn how to like pull it back.
Basically, it's like Superman.
Yeah. It takes more effort for Superman to open up a car door than it does for him to punch a bad guy.
All right, let's talk about Bad Batch.
Oh yeah, this is yeah.
If you got, we're gonna take your calls right now. So if you see the pinned message, the pinned chat link, you can go there, call in. Camera is not required, but if you want to join the conversation on the Bad Batch, let's do so. I mean, first of all, thank you guys for this conversation. Has been absolutely tremendous, and we love these types of conversations. We welcome discourse, and we welcome all kinds of Star Wars discussion, you know? But we did run over
Sorry.
the main point. We ran over the main point with like a semi. And we're going to talk about Bad Batch right now. Episode 7 or 8?
And they were good episodes.
Yes, they were. The music in these episodes were so copyrighted. I had to mute them. Like, I thought everybody had already heard that song, but apparently not.
The music, especially when the assassin pops up, oh my goodness, their theme was so freaking cool.
The synth and like the Blade Runner-esque of it all is just awesome. Haley, welcome back to Dyad in the Force. People using that scene of Rey as a she shouldn't know how to do that drives me crazy because she clearly didn't want to do that. Yeah, I mean, she's losing control. That's it. I would argue that she's accessing the same emotions Dooku is accessing when trying to save Qui-Gon. You know, no. Zzz. It would, you know, just like that.
Zappity zap.
When Ezra saves Zeb from Callus in the beginning, he had just as much chance to perform that Force push with zero training than he would have did a Force lightning.
Yeah.
But we have our first caller, and we are going to bring him in because that's what we do. Hold on.
Also, Haley, if you do want to join us for real fans, it is all High Republic Phase 1. And we would be honored if you would join us. Just saying.
We would love it if you would join us. Hi.
Hi.
Hello there.
I wanted to talk Bad Batch. I'm not here for Sith stuff, I promise.
I mean, we could veer into
Liar!
You liar!
I'm not here
wait.
for anything Sith, I promise.
Wait, did you call in?
Because of Obi-Wan.
I can't stand this slander. My empire. Your empire.
We'll get into that in like a second. Haley, if you want to talk to us about Bad Batch, go on and click that link that is pinned in the chat and join us. We're taking live calls.
It was really good. It was so emotional on many levels. Many levels.
Tell us about it.
Well, like you guys were talking about with the assassin part. The first time I saw that fire ring out, the cantina scene, to get to see that again, which my co-host on my podcast brought up the fact that this is actually the same cantina we see in the Clone Conspiracy episode in Clone Wars. So like, oh, that's cool. Same bar. So, just like that's clone hangout, I guess.
Yeah, 79s is where all the clones hung up.
And then
it's also featured in many fanfics.
Yeah. But I immediately was also like, this assassin, oh my god, they sent Crosshair after these guys. And then he missed. I'm like, okay, not Crosshair. That was my first thought, which is wondering if it was going to be Crosshair or not. And then seeing that weird armor, then I was like, okay, I don't even know what this thing is. It could be anything that's kind of bipedal now.
I was kind of hoping that it was going to be Cody. We don't have a true answer, but I am honestly hoping that, Mount Tantus is, they moved what cloning things they had over there, right? Which will replace the SPA-RT cloning cylinders from the expanded universe. But it's also where they recondition any clones whose loyalty was wavering. That's
what I was wondering. Yeah, because they did that with Crosshair. He wasn't even like out of line. They were just like, what if we amped up his loyalty though?
Yeah.
So they could have done that to who knows how many other clones. Maybe this assassin.
And that's my assumption.
Yeah, that was mine too, to get into the later part without getting into the later part. This was fun politics too. This was some really fun political intrigue.
Yeah.
I didn't think we would go back to that room, the Senate room.
Yeah. I was happy to see it wasn't already empty. I figured by now many people would have been like, I don't even clock in anymore.
It's weird to see that in the Empire, like the first lines in The New Hope from Leia, I'm in Imperial Senate. I'm in the Imperial Senate. And you're like, when you get into the prequels, it's the Republic Senate. And you realize that the Empire is still operating in this kind of, faux pas democracy, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But then we realize just how easy it is for Palpatine to turn that shit over. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the fun part with Rampart too. When I saw him there, I was just like, is he supposed to be like the military liaison for like all of the Empire now? But I guess any Imperial officer can now just put bills into the Senate, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. It's more or less just a dictatorship with pretty like gold leaflet around it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why Moffs exists. Like, I think even at this point in time, the Moffs are assuming direct control, and they're the ones that are in contact. And even though they have representation in the Senate, they're not in full. It's like a vassal rulership type thing.
Do they ever say the other clone's name that is with? I forgot it. They wanted to call him Spliff for a reason. I know that's not his name.
Slip.
Slip. Yeah.
So there was Slip and Cade.
Yeah.
Cade. Okay, that's right. Cade.
Cade 6.
But yeah, when I saw
Cade Yeager.
When I first saw Cade and like the way he was acting too, they gave me a lot of flashbacks to 5, like we were talking about, and his reconditioning and realizing everything going on. So that brought me right back into that. I feel like this was the perfect way to show off trauma from Clone Wars and Order 66 and all that without just having another goddamn flashback.
Yeah. I have a weird question for you. And this is one if you have noticed, I've been kind of slow on making content. It's because there's certain things that have just been bugging me, and I don't want to like put negativity into that. But there's been a lot of conversation surrounding Bad Batch about episodes being filler, or like when are we going to get back to the actual plot. And I honestly feel like this is the exact opposite. Like the plot is them taking care of this young girl, Omega. Like that is the plot of the Bad Batch. And I think is people getting mad when the Bad Batch is not Clone Wars.
Exactly. No, that's what I've always said. Is it's entirely just people looking for Clone Wars season 9 right now. Like that's all it is. They hear Clone Force anything, or they hear D. Bradley Baker, and it's immediately they're just like, all right, man, we're back in Nam, let's go, and they just can't get out.
I mean, it took Choco saying that during our reaction to realize that he was right. He's like, this is filler. This main storyline is filler.
Yeah.
Because the plot line of the Bad Batch is essentially, Omega. And, it's tough to think about that too, because although this is filler, it is part of the through line, right? Because we still need to know whether Crosshair is still under the influence, or if Crosshair now is part of the path.
Yeah, but and then that's super. It's also just important. We got to see some vital stuff in this episode. We got to see like the clones and how they're getting phased out, which is a question all of us have had. Is it going to be the big revolt? Is it like a revolt? Is it going to be a quiet little, silent whisper in the night? Like, how do they go away?
Yeah. Haley says,
and they've done a great job of
getting ready for a birthday to get together. They're listening until they get there. Tell them happy birthday from Dyad in the Force. And if they ask who's that, just say people.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, and watch.
Just tell them youtube.com/Dyad in the Force, DYAD.
Yeah.
Tell them to watch Rush Hour and say basically that.
Go ahead, Choco.
I
interrupted you.
Oh, the other thing that I was going to say that they did a good job showing this kind of changeover, but keeping like the Empire is evil. The Empire are the bad guys. They are the villains, and they did a good job keeping that lens on it, versus like, oh, there's a lot of gray areas and the Empire wasn't all bad. It was like, no, they also like genocided everyone on Camino. Like not just, they didn't empty out the facilities to save people. They emptied it out because they considered the clones like money to them.
Assets.
They were protecting military assets, and they just bombed the crap out of the people. And they were like, "There's not many of us left anymore, and we're just afraid at this point. We just kind of have to. We can't speak about it, or they'll just kill us too."
Yeah,
the Kaminoans can't even reproduce, right? Like they physically cannot reproduce themselves.
I
think that was talked about in the last Bad Batch when they were at that other facility.
They're cloners,
I believe it was
because they
mentioned,
clone, right?
Right, but I thought something about like they literally have like messed with themselves to the point where they can't even really breed well anymore. They clone like, I don't know.
I was trying to remember if that was them or if that was the Kryptonians. And
dude, there's something. Yeah, my brain totally could have pulled from another universe right there.
Either way, the Kaminoans got genocided as well.
Yeah, they're gone.
It wasn't just the clones in those cities.
Well, and the crazy thing too is when you look at the Senate, every single time they show the Senate, I think it's almost beautifully evil poetry, how it's the alien races, the Banker clans and all the other clans that are fighting to actually push Palpatine's propaganda into place, which will then only put collars around their necks.
Yes. It's again, as Choco says, this isn't a political channel, but there's a lot of, going against self-interests in politics.
Yeah.
People go against self-interest in order to put themselves in a protected state by, it's like, oh, yeah, it'll affect them, but they like me, so I will be exempt from the bad stuff raining down. And that's only a temporary, it's what Benny says in the Mummy. It's better to be at the right hand of the devil than in his path.
Right, or like with KOTOR, like one of my favorite things in KOTOR come from the Star Forge on Kashyyyk, where you're asked all those questions about good and evil, and one of them is, do you save all your people and look like a hero, or do you allow the enemy to attack and then turn them into a villain and kill them all and win? It's like, well, obviously you let people die. That's the whole point. You sacrifice as much as you can to make yourself look almost like a god, and then look at me, save the day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of what he does in the end. He's just like, no, my gosh, oh, this poor planet, oh, those darn clones.
And if it weren't any thirsty enough, you know, hey, shout out to Danielle for the clones. We got Ryo Chuchi back,
Ryo Chuchi,
which, you know, for
I've
how
been
many
saying
years?
Rio.
We've been saying Rio this entire time.
Like a freaking idiot.
You know, an audiobook's gonna come out in like a year. And
Oh,
they're gonna say
dude.
Rio. It's gonna be all over.
You're gonna call her. It's gonna be Ryu. It's not even spelled right.
It's gonna be Rio.
Yeah, Ryo Chuche.
Chucky. But again, Chuchi fighting for the clones.
Yeah, even more than I thought. Like even more than the Organas.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, so the Organas have their sector, so they can't really overtly do these things. You know,
I mean, he's already got the
they're
biggest target on
shipping
his
and
back.
logistics, right? I think.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Palpatine knew what they were up to since like the beginning of the Empire. He's like, I don't trust them at all.
Hey,
They're too good.
They have to. They have to work in the shadows as much
And
as
move
possible.
in silence to guard against
know-
extraterrestrial violence. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
that
honestly
was-
thought that it was going to be Mon Mothma that showed up to talk to Chuchi instead of Organa. The way they were kind of playing, I'm like, oh my god, it's going to
Yeah.
be like a Mon Mothma connection.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah. But aside from all of that, you know, Palpatine again. He's one step ahead of everybody else. And just as we were discussing earlier in the episode, was it the fact that he knew or he planned it, or did he have 2 speeches prepared?
I mean, it's either way Rampart wins and he wins, or Rampart goes down and he wins.
Yeah. And like I said later in the discussion, both things are the same thing. If he has 2 speeches prepared, he's planned it. So
Right.
it's just, man, when we see that, like, all of their fighting against this bill and everything that the Bad Batch did to get the evidence, and all to paint Rampart a villain and give Palpatine like the easiest path to Stormtroopers.
But also one of the coolest entrances. I can't give it to I can't take that away from the guy. I hate him, but I can't like take away that he knows how to use his ambiance.
We acknowledge the edginess of the Sith and the
Yeah.
dark side. That's all. You know?
But I love that. I always love how everyone points at him and they're like, how do you not know he's a bad guy? He literally came out of a slow rising hole in the floor going, this attack on the beacon.
I
And
said
like,
that
bro,
I said that in the reaction. How do you speak like that? And nobody's questioning where you're coming from. It's like,
the attack on my
our
life
emperor
left me
is
scarred.
our emperor is here. Let us bring in the stormtroopers. Like, what are his motivations?
You know how when Emperor's New Groove started, we knew Yzma was evil?
Yes.
Yes. It's just like that. So now we don't have to make those videos anymore. Well, unless people don't watch Bad Batch. I grossly underestimate how many questions can be asked when the answer has been given.
Right. I think the bigger one, too, to kind of go back to Choco's thing, where a lot of people want to say Bad Batch is fillery. A lot of them will go, especially to the tech episode with racing. But I'm like, I thought you guys wanted character development, because that's all this is.
Yeah.
Tech gets
They
to
just
realize
wanna
who
see
he as a
Anakin
human.
slice down and more younglings.
And it's kind of like, again, and this is with all love, Naughty Wookie, it's the same thing. If you just want to see people get their teeth bashed in Star Wars, just make your own fan film. That's the only way you're going to see it. At the end of the day, Disney's going to still sell a thing that kids and their family can watch. We're like, as much as I love the Yuzong Vong because they're creepy, not as a villain. It's
As much
not
as I
necessary.
love the Yuzhan Vong, boom!
Yeah.
Nubs! That freaking
That's-
smile and the 2 teeth. Come on.
Oh, dude, he's like a little Furby. He could go feral.
I felt
Get him wet after
You
midnight.
get him what? Yeah, I can see that.
I felt like Kevin Hart there. Come on. It's all for kids, man.
Yep.
You gotta take advantage of that.
That's the biggest thing. Like, as much as and that's the thing that helped me even with the sequels. Step away from it. Don't think of it like a 6-year-old kid in the early 2000s and late 90s watching Phantom Menace. Think of it as, what is this person gonna think, and how can I enjoy what they think?
Well, that's the thing, right?
Same with Bad Batch.
It's basically the kids that saw Star Wars, and then Episode 5 and 6 were kids, and those kids grew up and watched the prequel trilogy for a new set of kids, and the adults were like, this is not Star Wars. George Lucas ruined my childhood, right? But the kids loved the prequels.
Well, and if you take the rose-colored,
grew up, and then they watched the sequels, and they're like, they ruined my childhood. But then the kids of that generation watching the sequels love the sequels. So it's just thing. You watch Star Wars as a kid. That's your introduction. You grow up, and the next set of Star Wars is not for you, essentially. But you can. I still enjoy it as an adult. Yeah. But it is not made. It is made for the ensuing generation, and so there are some projects out there, like Haley said, with Andor, that are very different target audiences, and I feel like that's the direction they're going. But essentially, as a machine, as a concept, Star Wars has always been for kids, and the newest Star Wars films will be for the next kids. And the kids that came before will have grown up, may not view it with the same kid glasses, like you were saying, rose-colored glasses.
Yeah. But it's also like I had my OG fans that I know in my life that are, 10, 20 years older than me. Their big problem is like, oh, Hayden Christensen's acting. I'm like, what? He was a whiny, mopey, long-haired teenager who had anger issues. Take away the anger issues, you have Luke Skywalker. It's the same person.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, Darth Vader was so much cooler than Kylo Ren. No, literally, Kylo Ren was Darth Vader, but he showed his body off because he had ligaments.
The literal only thing that hurt Hayden's performance was Lucas's dialogue. Hayden acted the shit out of facial expressions and anything that required him to act without talking.
I mean, the man studied James Earl Jones' vocal pattern.
He took the role very serious. He loves Star Wars. That's another thing is someone asked in the video, like, would Star Wars be better if it was made by the fans? And the answer is
no.
It is made by the fans, with the exception of Rogue One. Everyone has been super into Star Wars. Who's made Star Wars?
Well, let's take that question at face value, though. It wouldn't be. If a bunch of fans themselves made the movies, it would be horrible.
It's all Darth Talon and, people getting cut in half.
It's all a bunch of people who don't know a thing about filmmaking, right?
Yeah. Or storytelling.
When we say the fans are making them nowadays, these are filmmakers, cast and crew, costume department. They are all tradesmen and women who are fans. But if you take a bunch of people who are like, oh, I'm a Star Wars fan, put them in like a set, ain't nobody know what they're doing. How do I operate this camera? Like, they don't know what they're doing. So,
and lo and behold, you're going to go back. You're going to go back to the hero's journey story because it's easy, and you're going to remake the same Star Wars.
You're going to have like 600 OCs on the writer's table. You're like, oh, I feel like my OC would be the best protagonist.
It's gonna end up just like SWTOR. It's going to be a group of like 8. A Mando, a Sith, a Jedi, a Grey Jedi, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Some random, giant Wookiee.
We also kind of talked about this on our Last of Us viewing as well, is sometimes we tell stories based off of how something we saw made us personally feel or how we related to it. And not everyone's going to have that same relationship for it. So the thing that, a fan might highlight in their story may not be true to the heart of what Star Wars is.
Yeah.
But going back to the Bad Batch. One of the interesting things that we noticed is at the end when the troopers were walking, all of them were out of step with each other.
Yes, very disorganized. Like in Attack of the Clones, them filing out of the Venators for the first time, so crisp, lockstep, in sync. Now they're just like, I'm just walking on my own. You know what I mean? It just goes to show. It's either the effect of the inhibitor chip, or things are so dour that you just don't care anymore. You know?
I mean, we've all worked in a place where we had such a horrible manager. Every day was like, I could quit right now.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what the clones are going through. They're just like, dude, our boss sucks. We do the worst things. Like, I'm just scrubbing toilets now. I just want to go shoot things again. Like, we're good at shooting things. He won't even let us do that.
We have a question from Wookie for Dexon. Tell me a full force, no mercy Kylo Ren wouldn't be a badass.
You should read the Kylo Ren comics then.
Or you should read the Star Wars Adventures comics where he scorches an entire planet. Because Kylo Ren has genocided before.
But see, that's the thing where he's talking about also like had he gone full Sith. A lot of people seem to forget that Star Wars is a rebellion, and like a rebellion, it's built on hope. The Sith can't win in the end. As much as even as a Sith fanboy, I'd be down for that little what if fanfic spinoff. What if the Sith really annihilate the Jedi and take over like the Ninth Jedi in Visions? But that is not George Lucas, nor is it Star Wars. It's supposed to be hopeful. It's supposed to be at the end of everything, that light inside the smallest person is the beacon to survive.
See, the thing that the Sith fail, or the portrayal of the Sith has failed to done, is to accurately portray the premise of selfishness. Because if you are selfish, you not really caring about the Jedi or really conquering. I think this is why my favorite Sith is Mar and Malgus, because they came to the realization that it doesn't matter what the Sith or the Jedi are doing. It matters what you're doing. And, Mar was like...
they went this way. they switched sides.
They're right. There's nothing but the Force. And then Malgus is like, the Sith and the Jedi are fucking dumbasses, so I'm just going to go my way and create the
crush
Empire
everyone.
Malgus.
Everyone's getting Force choked.
Yeah. So, I guess just to kind of close things out on the Bad Batch, the only thing left to figure out is where are all the clones? Are they actually AWOL? Does Rampart have a Mount Tantus facility that Palpatine doesn't know about?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Palpatine knows about it, but...
And, of course, it's going to be really awesome. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a whole nother show, but when Echo left, that was emotional. The big finale, the team's kind of splitting up. Even though he wasn't a part of the OG team, it honestly felt like we were losing a member of Clone Force 99 from the get-go. Like, they'd been together since birth. And that was hard. Seeing it through Omega's eyes now, especially being a father, now I'm like, oh no, protect her, please. She's hurting.
That part made me cry. I don't know why. And I think it was the song.
Oh, the music was so good.
Because that was the song that played when Fives died. Spoiler alert. And I don't know. I didn't expect Echo to leave.
Yeah.
But I think what made me more emotional was the fact that, or the implication of such. The implication that Echo's leaving, and that we don't see him with anyone else, so he doesn't make it.
You're right.
Rex, Gregor, Wolf, they're in Rebels.
That's what I'm wondering. That's the big one now. Is do we finally get to see Gregor and Wolf coming up soon? Are we going to finally get their story?
Probably will. But that's why I'm scared for Echo. Because if he leaves and goes off to help Rex, and he's not with Rex and Rebels, he not there.
He's not there.
Or here's a super awesome fan theory that my co-host came up with. what if he goes full droid and he actually becomes the R5 unit who blows his own motivator because he realizes that's R2D2 and he hears Skywalker and it's actually Echo who put it all in motion.
Are you kidding me? Are you gonna make Echo resign himself to becoming a droid? Like he's not already enough of one.
His body gets so mangled, it's all that's left. And they're like, well, what if I put him inside of this little R5 unit and then he saves the galaxy by blowing his motivator?
Uses Echo to rebuild Mel.
Ooh.
No, not a ooh. That's a horrible path for Echo.
Yeah, it's pain. Now you're understanding. It's pain.
Tommy P says, I love seeing Ryo Chuchi again. She's one of my many bays in Star Wars, including ours.
Yeah. Professionally speaking, Ryo Chuchi could get it.
We love our blue women. You know what I mean? Just as many of you out there love your blue men. You know? I don't know why that's a thing, but I guess blue is everyone's favorite color. It's just like every direction I turn, someone's thirsting after Thrawn.
You know, I know it's weird, but I'll totally take my chicks with mandibles. Let's go. Give me a pure blood Sith lady.
Hey, you know what? I was simping for Lorna D for quite a minute.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, when you said mandibles, I just thought of Dr. Mandible.
Actually, that made me think of Admiral Trench because of the spider mandibles.
I will leave that joke to not online.
Dr. Mandible, for anyone who doesn't know, in A New Hope, is just a giant ant in the cantina. His name is Dr. Mandible. So that's what I was picturing.
Isn't he also in Mando? Isn't that like she's playing cards with him, right?
The frog lady. So it's one of the species. I don't recall if the name is spoken.
Naughty Wiki Super Chat at $9.99 ramen drop.
Oh, thank you. We absolutely appreciate it.
Thank you so much for that $10 ramen drop, Naughty Wookie. You're free to write a message for SH4T to relate to us, but we totally appreciate the support. And welcome to Dyad in the Force. I think this is our first time seeing you in the chat, so we welcome you to the community.
Absolutely.
I think, what else do we have to discuss about the Bad Batch? I think that's it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. I was happy when I got to see Rampart get carted off. That just made me smile.
You know, we got to see
That's
Masamita.
sir. Naughty Wiki Super Chat at $49.99 truckload of ramen.
Holy
That's a lot. We super appreciate it. It's I don't know that I'm not worth that much.
Yes, you are. Everyone here is worth it. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know.
Ooh. It's that no cry.
Thank you, Naughty Wookie, for the $50 truckload of ramen. We're going to have to forward that over to our UK offices because we're probably going to have some kind of thing at Star Wars Celebration. By the way, if you're going to Celebration London, you know what? We're going to be around. If you're going to be around. So let's hang out. You know what I mean?
One of these years.
Last year, we took the reason we call it a ramen drop is we got ramen for everyone, you know, for the community. We had a big ramen party, and it was quite tasty.
Yeah, that was our first ever time meeting everyone in the community, and meeting everyone that were like mutuals. But definitely appreciate the drop there, Naughty Wookie. It ain't easy dropping that much these days, you know, especially with the price of eggs. So, definitely.
So you better have chickens.
He probably has his own chicken farm.
There you go. That's how he got that money.
Chicken coop. Sorry.
We're talking a big egg over here.
He's dropping his egg profits.
He's got that
Pull
Tyson
it
dollar.
out of the Eggy pocket, and just
Hey. By the way, Eggy, if you're watching, why didn't you call in? And if you're not watching, and you're watching this on VOD,
The disappointed dad look.
it feels like it feels like AJ being like it's a can't miss episode, and he doesn't show up.
Okay, so now let's move on to our Real Fans Would Know segment. This is our High Republic edition of Real Fans Would Know. If you want to participate, please feel free to click the link in the chat and call in.
Please, because I'm not going to be able to answer all of them, even though I know the High Republic.
Hey, it would be an interesting social experiment to have you alone here trying to answer it.
Where you at, DePaul? Give me that belt.
It would be it would be like he guesses once and we're like, nope, sorry, you can't guess again until someone else does.
Tommy P, if you're in here, join the call if you can. Haley's going to the birthday thing. Miraculous Muncie.
Kenny, why aren't you on break?
Marianne. Kenny, if you're on break, join the call and try to participate in this High Republic. We could also just make this a for fun run as well.
Yeah, we
It
make
doesn't
for
have
fun.
to be a competition.
We can also, just do half the questions and then hang out and chat and all that good stuff. But that's always fun.
Here's my first question, just because I have to. How many people do you think Geode has bagged?
Depends on how many Vintians exist.
I mean, Geode, we don't know how old Geode is, but Geode's got moves, and the reaction of Affy was like, not again. So like, this is common.
Yeah, but she also says, let's be fair, she also says he can't do it, like physiologically. Like he can only do it with other Vintians.
Okay.
Yeah, reproduce.
How do the? Is it like two rocks get together and then like
Make gravel.
make gravel? Jesus.
What did you say?
They make gravel.
Oh gosh. Just a sharp grinding sound in the next room. No, they don't make gravel. They make flour.
Yeah.
All right. Two
One of them
rocks, and they just kind of run into each other until chunks break off.
And those
then
chunks become sentient.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they regrow those missing spots, but those chunks grow up.
I would feel so bad going to that planet if you didn't know what a Vintian was, and you're just like rock climbing, but little do you know, you're just like pawing this whole like family.
There's like a legal action against you. You find
You're
out
banned from the planet.
Wookie asks, so why didn't they show the Dark Kylo Ren they showed in the comics?
Why didn't they show the huge Kyber palace underneath the Exegol? I don't know, bro. They didn't have time.
A lot of it was time. A lot of it was time
And written after.
I think also
I don't know how much was written after, because some of it was definitely written during, but and before and waiting for it to come out, because certain releases happen on the same day as releases. But the same thing could be said of anyone. You know what I mean? Like, we don't see Vader do anything super duper cool in his films.
But in
most
those
of it comes from
comics-
comics and stuff, right?
yeah, he just
This
chokes.
recent run,
He just chokes what's his face?
he just chokes people.
He
Was that Piet?
like
No, it
military
wasn't Piet.
personnel.
He chokes.
He chokes
Admirals?
Ozzo
lot.
and Nita.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nita.
But like in this most recent comic, he literally takes out a droid-filled transport with just his lightsaber and a speeder bike.
Yeah.
I
Other
think
than that, in the original trilogy, we just see him.
Fighting Luke.
He fights Luke twice, and he gets beat by Luke, who's kind of new to all of this.
We don't even see Anakin kill younglings. He just
Yeah.
takes out the laser sword and disappears off screen. And then
that kind of goes into a video I'm getting ready to make, which is literally just the top 10 characters that you love that actually didn't do anything.
And then let me finish this
in
sentence.
the movie.
Leave Qui-Gon alone.
Let me finish this sentence. And then he loses to Obi-Wan. So
And then he loses to Obi-Wan, the old guy who's been chilling on a desert planet doing nothing.
I will say this, Wookiee. It all comes down to the fractured and the inherently faulty logic of a trilogy, because they set themselves up to fail in terms of giving themselves enough time to tell a story. And which is largely why I want them to start just making Star Wars movies and not trilogies. Because if they're going to tell the Old Republic story, if they're going to tell the High Republic story, if they're going to tell any story in the future, they really need to just tell the story. They can't be like, okay, I'm going to tell this Old Republic story in 3 movies. Now you've just planned to write yourself into a corner, right? Mm-hmm. You have to fit. Yeah. You have to fit all of the major story beats in 3 movies. And one can argue Kylo Ren scorching a planet or genociding a planet isn't really a major story beat. We already know he's the supreme leader. We already know that he's going across the galaxy and trying to subjugate people in his time. But I just want them, just like the argument for today's streaming shows, we want the episodes to be as long as they need and as short as they need. In The Last of Us, we don't have an hour slot. We have 40 minutes. We have an hour and 20-minute episodes, and then 40-minute episode, and then another an hour and 20-minute episode. It's as long as it needs to be. So we need movies that just tell the story. Just like the MCU, and not in the vein of copy MCU. I mean, in the vein of create movies that tell the story, set it up, and then by movie 10, you've probably got a good angle to start, providing closure. But 3 movies is not enough for anything.
I also think, if you're telling the story, the next question becomes how much of that is necessary for the story, and I think this is kind of one of the issues that I think some people have with the sequels that are not consciously aware of it, is as males we identify with Luke and Anakin and their journey more than we would Rey, being a woman and having a lot of this internal conflict. So we want to see Kylo Ren do these things, but he is not the protagonist of this film. This is Rey's story. So in Rey's story, we're not going to watch Kylo Ren do a bunch of really badass things. Also, if he was on the wavering and ends up coming back to the light, because of that, we can't see him go super duper dark. Otherwise, it doesn't fit well. It doesn't feel right.
We do understand you, Wookiee, though. You just want to see Kylo Ren go full on evil, which is fine.
Yeah. And hey, maybe one day we'll get an Old Republic movie with Malgus, and you'll see something like that where he's like, no, I'm literally just going to be murdering everyone.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll get a New Republic movie, and it's going to end with a Kylo Ren hallway scene.
Yeah. Or one of those Sith masks.
Just to counter Dexon's point, I would love to see a Malgus movie, because then I would love to see Satil Shan push his shit in it. Oh, what is that? What is that? Why does he need a breather? Why does he need a rebreather? Oh, that's why.
Yeah, because a Jedi was really mean and didn't try to save his life. Instead, just force pushed him through a mountain.
Listen, it was
so
war.
mean.
Hadouken.
Rude.
I feel like he was also being kind of rude,
But she's the better person. Be the bigger person. Come on.
Well, one can argue also she was protecting the one she loved.
And everyone. Yeah, he was about to murk everybody.
I have a question, Dexon. Because I am in full agreement. The story just needs to be as long as it needs to be. Could they do the Bane trilogy in 3 movies? Is that possible?
See, the biggest issue with that is also going to be he's already been physically changed so much that they could easily get away with changing whatever they need to. So, but if they're going to do just the books, I want to say it should be 3 movies because I love those books so much. But that's just me being a fanboy. You could make that movie in 1 movie. You could have Bane like what he is in a movie pretty easily. You could have a flashback showing his time in the mines, which led to his Sith training. Or yeah, you could just do all 3 because it worked. It's literally already a trilogy. You don't have to change much besides just a bit of a beat rate.
I feel like you could do a whole season of just him on what's that mining planet?
Apatros.
Patros. Yay.
I was gonna say I feel like it would take 3 movies to do the first book.
Okay, yeah.
I mean going
it would have
all
to be
the
a
way
series
through, because just being at the Sith temple, learning,
war before
growing,
he even becomes a Sith.
yeah, losing, hiding what he can do, and all that stuff happens all before he even goes out to temples to start gathering information. I feel like the first movie would need to be at least 3 films, but that's just me. 1 movie could be Apatros and a soldier and getting himself caught, and then we get Sith, and then
So it would be the Bane saga,
evolving beyond it.
which I'm totally down for 9 Bane movies because it would sell for 1. It would sell. Because then that's also a good way to show Darth Revan, because he would have to visit Darth Revan's holocron.
Mm-hmm.
So it would physically work to also bridge a lot of gaps and put us, because that's another thing I'm really looking forward to with the Acolyte, is if the Acolyte does really well, then they're going to finally be like, okay, cool, they're comfortable with us going to a different timeline.
I just know that if we're going to do anything involving the Old Republic, I would rather that be a show with Andor's budget. Because
after Choco said they could be 3 movies just in the first book, though, yeah, it would have to be a show. That is a very valid point. You could either gloss over a lot of it to get to him just being an evil Sith Lord, which would cause all of the book readers to cry, or then you just got to make a month's worth of material to be like, here's Darth Bane. It's a lot.
And I think without all of that backstory, we wouldn't understand his motivation, why he's driven, and I mean that's it's honestly never the action that I think we makes things memorable. There's so many action-packed films. We love these characters and those character interactions, and without that, I think we have a clip show that we can point at later.
I think they're going to do, just to kind of piss off the Puritans a little bit more, is when they finally do the Old Republic, it's going to be about Mitra Surik and not Revan.
Oh, dude, I'm so down for that. I am so down for female Mitra Surik.
Let's be honest though.
No, but
most of Revan's story is told through Mitra Surik in the next game.
Yeah,
that's where you learn everything about.
That's what I'm saying. The first Old Republic movie is about Mitra Surik, and they still only get trickling information about Revan. They don't get Revan, right? And then the next set of movies after Mitra is before Revan, and you really only just giving them, raindrops or drizzles of what it's like to what canon Revan is like.
Which is not a bad idea, because if you touch Revan directly, half the people will be mad at what you choose no matter what.
Yeah.
You can't make everyone happy.
I mean, a lot of people love Darth Revan, but he was only a Darth for like 2 years. And he was
it wasn't even him.
Long time.
It wasn't even his own brain.
And it
was
wasn't
the Emperor.
his choice. He got brain blasted twice. And so there's a lot of things that I think are just better read on Wikipedia. And I think if people actually got this full story, it would be super weird and off-putting. I know, I could be wrong.
But Mitra Surik and the Sith Triumvirate, that's got
that would be
meat
cool.
on it.
That absolutely.
And seeing a Darth Nihilus would just make so many people happy.
At the very
People
least,
be so angry and happy.
at the very least, you
he
start showing
dies
people
first.
how Nihilus is weak and how Scion isn't actually in the middle.
They have to keep the light side part with Scion in. If I ever see Darth Scion, he needs to be killed by being talked to death. I just like, no, bro, it's okay. No, I'll hug you. It's okay.
That is the genesis of Jar Jar Binks.
So what? Jar Jar is like 6,000 years old.
They make him hang out with Jar Jar for an hour, and he's like, "Listen, I'm done."
He's like, I have found the will to give up
I have found peace.
away from
Marianne.
him.
Marianne, how are you on Phase 1 of the High Republic? Because we're waiting for at least one other person to participate in this Real Fans Would Know segment. And just to probably, since we're running a lot over, we'll probably end the podcast after that. But Marianne, if you did want to call in and give a couple of thoughts on the Bad Batch, and then give this Real Fans Would Know a try, let us know in the chats.
I mean, I would love to hear Marianne's musical thoughts because it was really cool.
Oh, okay. She hasn't read the comics, but she can give it a chance. As with all things Real Fans, sometimes it's a matter of guessing. Because if you don't know, you don't know. You know what I mean?
I feel like knowing the material wouldn't affect the outcome of many of them in the past.
See, that's my thing. Is like I know what I've had a general idea of what every question has been. I got it. The minute what they changed.
And that's what throws most people off.
Yeah.
Because we read it in so a matter-of-fact voice. You're like, is that correct?
Sometimes I struggle to read the incorrect part correctly. Like if I'm reading one of yours, Pep, I'll read the part and my brain wants to say the correct word, and I feel like no, and like wrestle it back.
No.
No.
Could you imagine if Palpatine was Australian?
Hardcore Omega Australian.
No.
Maybe even better with Vader.
Unlimited power. Oh, dang.
Vader would be the best.
My
dude.
accent
Vader
put
is the best.
his camera out of focus.
Too powerful. Unlimited no.
All right, let's bring in Marianne and get this thing started. Hello, Marianne.
Hi.
Thank you for calling in and giving us a reason to do this segment.
I like the a real fan thing. I think it's fun.
It's supposed to be fun. I mean, let's be real. The whole Real Fans thing is meant to bring Choco's camera into focus.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Did you cast Obscurus or something? There you go.
Oh man, we Onared too hard.
Yeah. I mean,
I narrowed too close to the sun.
Nar. Dang, I'm like thinking of Palpatine's speeches now. It's like, I can't think of them right now. But
That
just
fast
imagining an
galactic
Australian Palpatine.
Empire.
Have the Jedi ever? No. It's like, have you ever heard of the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
The
That would
wise.
have been fun.
No.
That would be fun.
I thought not. I thought not. It's not a tale that the Jedi would tell you. It's just a very nice Palpatine at the.
It sounds almost buddy. Like you can't do it. When I was like, no, didn't think so. They wouldn't have told you that.
And he becomes like all like perverted too. It's like, we watch your career with great interest.
Well done.
He is a perverted Michael Cook from Australia, or Michael Caine, I should say. Michael Caine.
Now what we have here is a Zilla Beast. He becomes Steve Irwin. Okay, so as with all Real Fans would know, It's highly pedantic, and it's not a real fans test. It's not a purity test in any way. That is just for us to have fun with all of the pedantic stuff that we could throw at you guys. So the rules are as follows. You can only attempt after someone else has attempted. And you can raise your hands at any point, and you only have 3 attempts. Anything else, Choco?
No, I think we just get started. I'm afraid Marianne's just gonna get all of mine right off the bat, like she did last time.
I read really fast. I'm sorry.
I am so screwed.
We shall see. I'm going to start with the first statement. Here we go. In light of the Jedi, Efru Shin, a new member of the Council, selected by Master Vetter to hold his seat in his stead, protests to rallying under the Republic War banner, saying, quote, "We should be concerned with now, not old empires or victories or defeats. What is our role in this Republic at this precise moment?" Go and raise your hands whenever you have something.
All right, first attempt.
Jackson.
My shot in the dark is a real fan would know that Vidar is a grandmaster.
It's not incorrect by omission.
But it's not right.
He's called Master. They all call them Master Yoda and stuff.
All right.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. It's been a while since I read The Light of the Jedi. A real fan would know that Efru Shin was not a new member of the Council.
That is incorrect.
I didn't think so.
Here's the track. You guys are on the right one.
Oh, excellent. Good to know.
Sorry to give that, as you can't reattempt. Jackson.
I'm not going to get it right either, but anyway, a real fan would know that Efru Shin did not take Master Vitar's seat.
That is correct.
Guesstimation.
Excellent job.
I chose C.
He was in fact chosen by Yoda because Yoda was taking a sabbatical from council duties. Okay. Next statement from Choco.
In Fallen Star, Elzar recounts how Orla helped him recenter himself on the beaches of Ledalu. Amidst eternal tides, she tells him, "You see the Force as in river."
Sorry.
I was like,
Wait, I got it!
What was that thing we were just talking about? Where he can't read the correction, Rock?
no, I read it correctly. No, you see the Force as a river, but you've fallen into the habit of believing that the river is something you can control.
I'm sorry. I'm still laughing.
No, I was thrown off by the and it was just, yeah.
I'm still laughing at how you just like literally.
You
read
went with it.
Yep, Azan River.
Azan River. Okay. Shot in the dark. A real fan would know that Elzar sees the Force as an ocean.
Oh,
That is correct.
she got it. Yeah,
I think that's
there
what
we
gave
go.
it away because it's an ocean.
I did. I just remember Elzar and ocean. I don't know why. That always stuck with me.
I tried to push through.
No, that was my fault. I didn't use the correct particle there. So that's 1-1 Marianne and Daxon.
Coming for you, the ball.
I gotta make sure my grammar is on point. All right, next statement is, in The Monster of Temple Peak, Issue 2, Ty York is being taught how to bond with animals through the forest by her master, Sababa. Her master tells her that it is not about controlling, but partnering. 2 minds as one. 2 minds as one.
This is all you, Ducks, and I have not read the comic, so...
Oh, you can still guess.
I got nothing.
All right,
Go ahead,
well,
Jackson.
I didn't read this one. A real fan would know that Jababa was not a Jedi. Did not teach Tayor. I said, did not give her instruction in Jedi stuff.
That is incorrect.
I'm just remembering Ty York from the books.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a origin story for Ty York.
Oh, okay, I really need to read
Beautiful
the comic.
cover art, and I just totally missed it.
Beautiful lightsaber.
Yeah.
Beautiful soul.
Misunderstood.
I got nothing. I have no idea.
Choco, would you say Ty York rolls d20s?
Really?
I mean, they're not actual like d20s, but I like to think that they provide the same chance.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll give it a shot.
Go ahead.
She
A
can
real
roll this
fan
day.
would know it's not animals, but plants that she bonds with. I don't know.
That is incorrect.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Daxon.
All right. A real fan would know that her statement was not two minds as one.
Oh, he's doing the smart thing and not providing his actual correction. That is correct.
But he had a full sentence and he just stopped halfway.
Full stop.
I thought he was gonna continue the two minds as one. Honestly.
I was
waiting for him to
didn't
finish.
repeat it. I was gonna say she only said it
no,
once.
I think this is one of those clear examples of learning from mistakes, because when you get the incorrect portion and provide another incorrect statement after, that is canceled out. So I think he was about to be like, it's not two minds as one, it's two bodies as one.
Something
And
stupid.
that would have been incorrect again. But good job. The actual mantra is two wills as one. All right. Next, it's 2-1. Daxon and Tamirian's 1. Next statement from Choco is this.
In the Rising Storm, during the Republic Fair on Valo, Elzar Mann found himself roiled with emotions as the Nihil attacked. He would use the dark side to fling massive boulders at the Armada, preventing them from destroying the Sky Island monuments from crushing civilians below them.
Daxon.
A real fan would know that Elzar Man did not throw boulders.
That is correct.
He threw fucking Sky Islands and shit. He threw all kind. He just grabbed stuff. He just
He
Maximus.
flung the Sky Islands as
At the
a,
ship.
quote, discus.
Yeah, it was not a wise thing to do.
Also, made me immediately fall in love with him as a character.
You're the dark side, dude. Okay.
I'm that
next-
little voice in the back of your head that's just like, nah, just stab him.
Gosh. So you were on his shoulder when he failed to save Starlight,
Yeah.
right?
I was the guy like, hey, just cut him down.
Okay, next statements. In Into the Dark, Affy Hollow confirms the function of the smuggler's code on the Amaxian station was not used to cheat Scover Bind out of money. It was proof that the Bind Guild had used the Amaxian station to smuggle weapons. Scover would offer bonuses and benefits if they took the risk.
Ooh, that one's good. That one's well hidden.
Yeah.
I thought I heard something wrong, but then I'm like, no, it's not. That's true.
I like the process of it. That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Go ahead.
This is just, God, this is so in the dark. A real fan would know that it wasn't a smuggler's code. It was just leftover messages.
That is incorrect.
Okay. Oh, I read it better now. Okay, maybe.
You gotta have one. Yeah, you gotta have a guess, man.
I
Gotta
know.
be
It's
something that's jumping out at you.
This is way out here, but for some odd reason, I'm thinking a real fan would know that that was not the name of the guild. I don't know.
No, that is incorrect.
It's been so long.
It was indeed the Bind Guild.
It was the Bind Guild. Okay.
Daxon.
Alrighty, a real fan would know that on a Maxine station, they were not smuggling weapons.
That is correct.
They were smuggling relics and artifacts and anything they could find.
Oh, yeah.
Technology.
I mean, do I take that point away from him?
Yeah, right. I started talking too much again, like I always do.
He ended it, and then he threw some seasoning later.
They don't explicitly say what they're smuggling. They just say that they just had to use it, and it was a risk to use it.
My mind honestly read it as they were smuggling people, as like
Could be.
yeah.
Next statement. Here we go. Oh, good God, Jocko.
The Great Hyperspace Disaster started when the Legacy Run, piloted by Hedda detected something in their hyperspace lane, something they thought was impossible. Hedda tried as hard as she could to avoid it. However, the aging ship broke under the pressure. Most of the devastating debris, moving at near light speed, emerged in the Valo system, prompting an enormous rescue effort by the Republic and the Jedi to save the lives of the people of the system.
Yeah, she was very thirsty.
Real fans would know it was not the Valo system.
That is correct.
That is correct.
It was the Hetzal system.
Hetzel. I knew
Yes,
it started
sir.
with an H, but I could not remember it. Yay!
All right.
We
got
get
a
to see it in
4-2.
the new Santa Staros comic. They're in that system.
You know what? I'm so behind on comics now.
Yeah.
Hey, don't worry, I got breakdowns on my channel for you, Pep.
Ooh.
Awesome. I'm not gonna watch them. I'm just kidding.
I know.
Hey, I watch them. I give them likes. Jesus. I share the wealth and the love.
It's Pep, my mom, and my wife.
Hey, I'm in there though. Choco's like,
I try. No, I've been. Yeah, I've.
I did my best. I did my best. Okay, next statement. In Edge of Balance Volume 2, Lily Toraasi returns to Ban Chi to protect the temple from being assaulted by the Nile with the help of Sav Malagon. In the aftermath, they receive a report that Starlight Beacon has fallen, but Lily chooses to stay on Ban Chi with Kieran, Nima, and Vivnia. Jackson.
A real fan would know the planet wasn't called Banchi.
That is incorrect.
It was just highlighted twice. So I was like, ooh, is he going to make it obvious?
This is one of those shot in the darks if you don't know.
Yep, absolutely. Let's just okay. A real fan would know that she left.
That is incorrect.
I have no idea.
I was like, I don't even know if that was enough.
Left Bungie. I don't know. I actually have that one. I haven't read it yet.
It is really good. Especially if you love anime. Dachshund.
A real fan would know that Sav Maligan was never there.
That is incorrect.
There we go. We're narrowing it down.
I don't know. She chose to stay, but not with those. A real fan would know she chose to stay, but not with those people.
That is incorrect. Here's the track.
It's even, yeah, it's even worse that she just like, she took what I was gonna take. I was gonna also probably be super vague and just be like, but not those three.
Not those three, yes. Not those people.
All
I love
right.
the strategy though.
Yeah.
Dachshund.
Alrighty. A real fan would know that Vivnia did not stay.
That is incorrect.
All right.
Process of elimination, guys. Come on.
I know. Okay. Okay. How about
Yeah.
a real fan would know that the temple was not assaulted by the Nihil.
That is incorrect.
Yeah.
All right. I got my last one. Let's do this.
Dachshund.
50-50. Can I choose one of the correct names? All right. A real fan would know that Kieran did not stay on Banshee.
That's correct.
What a guess! I'm so impressed.
I will leave it at that because that's a spoiler alert. But yes, he did not stay on Banshee.
Oh my god.
Now we're sad.
Oh no, I didn't say anything.
It's High Republic. We know what that means.
Yeah, right?
All right, we're just gonna close this out with 3 more. Choco, here's next. Choco wrote books. Okay.
Yeah, I did. All right, leave me alone. After leaving the oceanic planet of Lidalu, aboard the vessel, Orla Jareni and Elzar Mann, along with the crew, are pulled out of hyperspace into a Nile trap. The Nile, who were already attacking a hauler, set their sights on the vessel. That's the wrong fare. I'm sorry. They are only able to escape due to Orla's idea to play music loud enough to disrupt communication.
That's the wrong thing.
Jackson?
A real fan would know that the vessel is not Orla Jareni's ship.
It's true that that's not their ship, but they were on board the vessel.
Okay, so that's the
So
crew
that is,
then. Okay.
That is, yes.
Okay, the crew is in. Okay, gotcha.
Go ahead.
A real fan would know they didn't play music. It's been so long since I've read these. Oh my god.
That is
It
incorrect.
didn't play music.
They did.
They did, okay.
Go ahead,
Jackson?
Jackson.
A real fan would know that the idea did not come from Orla.
That is incorrect. That was Orla's idea. Elzar was like, so we're just going to shoot them all, right?
Also, Orla Jareni for like number 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
If Mary Ann could guess this, she could be on her way to tie it.
They know I'm not gonna guess this.
I just pulled up my digital copy of Edge of Balance number 2. How old is Nan again? God damn it.
At this point, she's probably 17, 18.
No reason.
Okay.
No reason.
Okay.
Go ahead.
A real fan would know. A real fan would know that. No. Nope.
She's got to follow through. Follow through. Go all the
Yeah,
way.
you know what? I'm sorry. I'm so bad at this. A real fan would know they were not attacking a hauler.
That is incorrect.
Also, you got to get out of my head. But also, hey, thanks for taking the bullet.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
And Pep, you know this one?
I actually don't. This is how pedantic these things are. We write them after looking them up. For obvious reasons, to be correct about it. Jackson.
A real fan would know that this was actually before they even got to Lidl.
Later.
That is incorrect.
Dang.
Okay, here's my. Wait, do I get one more, right? I get one more?
Mhm.
Okay. A real fan would know it was not to disrupt communication.
That is incorrect.
Looks like that's I think that's all everyone's attempts. Let me see if I can
Okay.
guess it. Let me read it again. After leaving the oceanic planet of Ledalo, on board the vessel, Orla Jareni and Elzar Mann, along with the crew, are pulled out of hyperspace and into a Nile trap. The Nile, who are already attacking a hauler, set their sights on the vessel. They're only able to escape. A real fan would know that the crew wasn't there.
That is also incorrect. So the answer
Is it the pulled out of hyperspace part?
Yes. They were
Ah!
not pulled out of hyperspace. They were jumping to a point to switch to a more common hyperspace
I was-
lane because Geo told them it would cut their travel time in half.
Marianne still has a chance to tie this. We have 2 more statements.
Okay.
So here we go.
My statements are very long. I'm sorry. My last statement is the longest. So
All right. Let's go.
my god.
Let's
it
go.
kind of meanders, and I don't like it, but I also wrote it live.
All right, the penultimate statement. In the High Republic comic run Phase 1, Skier is dealing with primal instincts of aggression and rage. This is due to a disease that affects many Trandoshans called the Magrak syndrome. This causes him to slowly lose his sensitivity to the Force. Upon returning to Starlight with the Ataraxia, he sacrifices himself to save Keeve Trennis from the Nile. Toxin.
A real fan would know that that Magrak syndrome does not cause one to slowly lose their sensitivity to the Force. It causes one to become extremely more aggressive and like recess in brain cognitivity.
That is incorrect. So just a point of contention or clarification, the Magrak syndrome may not cause it inherently, but the syndrome within Skier causes him to lose his sensitivity.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say that's what Magrak's disease was a Force thing.
Got good thinking music going on?
I'm thinking right now I'm listening to Tempest Runner, the audio drama,
Oh.
and I know Skier is in that because I remember when him and Keeve popped up.
They show up in the beginning. Everyone's terrified.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's the syndrome.
Okay. A real fan would know they didn't return on the Ataraxia.
That is incorrect. Wow.
Okay.
Jackson.
I'm going to say that a real fan would know that Skier sacrificed himself to save way more than just Keeve Trennis. There were like multiple other Jedi there behind him.
It is not incorrect by omission.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly how to say it too, yeah. Because it was also the blonde chick that I know her name until I decided to start talking.
Just because by virtue of Keeve being there, he does sacrifice himself to save her. It's tough, man. It's tough. You know
Okay,
what?
I see one more thing, but I'm
Well,
just gonna have to go on. Hopefully, it's
you have
because
to
it's
wait,
like super. I know. And she has a really good psychic link, apparently, so she's probably gonna guess the same thing I'm about thinking right now. I should probably stop thinking.
Don't think about it.
Oh no, I'm thinking about it.
It's tough. It's tough, right? Going from books to, from books versus visual media, right? To
I
this
do
stuff.
struggle with the comics. I don't understand it. Okay. I got nothing.
Choco, maybe it was because Reith needed a reason, a good reason.
A real fan would know A real fan would know. A real fan would know. It's not. I don't know.
This one. It's buried in there pretty well.
Oh, rude. Okay, a real.
Please don't be psychic.
I probably don't have this. I'm sorry. A real fan would know. Oh, there's a puppy. Hello. A real fan would know it was not returning to Starlight. I don't know.
That is incorrect.
Okay, all right.
Dax,
If this isn't it, then I literally also have no idea. A real fan would know that Magrak syndrome is very rare and does not affect a lot of Trandoshan's.
that is also incorrect.
I really no. Wait, do we have one more, or is that it?
You guys have one.
I'm
more.
done.
Okay. Okay. Okay, this is a shot in the dark. A real fan would know it was not in the comics. In the comics, this did not happen in the comics.
It does.
Oh, it
That
does.
is
Well,
incorrect.
okay,
Yes.
fine. Never mind. Again, I'm thinking Tempest Runner. I haven't finished it yet, so okay, never mind.
So, the correct
Bro, is it the
statement-
fact that it's syndrome and disease?
No, that is also
Okay.
The
The answer is that Syndrome is actually a villain in The Incredibles.
No, so the correct statement would be: upon returning to Starlight with the Ataraxia, he sacrifices himself to save Keith Trennis from the Nameless.
Oh, okay. Because he lost his connection to the Force and wasn't. Yeah, he was able to actually fight the thing off. Now I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, the
leveler.
Oh, that awful thing.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really need to read the comics. I struggle so much with reading comics.
I think my
need to read
brain,
them.
my brain was like, yeah, but the leveler is the Nihil, right? It's the same thing.
If it makes it easier, you can look for the trades, the collected issues within the volumes.
I have two volumes, I think.
Also,
just-
if it makes it easier, start with High Republic Adventures.
Oh, I think I have that one too. Like, I'm trying to make my way
I
through
actually
the
like
Darth
High
Vader
Republic
omnibus,
Adventures
and
more.
it's struggling. I got a bunch of comics over there, and I struggle so much with them. I don't know why. I can't explain
Well,
it.
But yeah, no. The best thing about the comics, if you love the books, is just the different points of view it gives. Like that's my number one thing I'll say about High Republic comics is they interweave the story so well.
That's
very
what I
in
noticed
between
when I
stuff.
started.
Like-
Yeah.
Reading the
Trials of Shadow.
reading the young the High Republic Adventures going into Midnight Horizon gives it so much like depth.
Midnight Horizon made me cry so much.
Okay, you'll love it like
Oh.
10 times more if you read the
Okay,
whole
all right.
comic run and then
Got it.
reread.
I will do it.
Here is the last book. by
I'm so sorry. This one is also not. It's not very good. So
Here we
All
go.
right.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Okay.
all right. Follow me. Tempest Runners, Panada, Kassav, and Lorna D were responsible for leading their respective tempests and lining the pockets of the Nile in their tempests, known as storms, clouds, and strikes. After the death of Kassav, Markion appointed Zetar, an Anzellan who wears a mech suit to make up for his small size, to take over his tempest. When there was strife in the upper ranks, Zetar took Markion's side over Panada and defied his attempt at a coup.
Jackson?
I'm gonna go with a real fan would know that Markion didn't need any help with Pan Ada defying his little coup.
I mean, he didn't need help, but like he still got it.
Marianne.
A real fan would know that it was Lorna D who took Markion's side.
That is incorrect. Lorna D was like, I'm gonna be quiet.
Like you normally do. It's not the obvious one. They actually, I was like looking at the ranking of the Tempests. I was like, oh,
We'll
okay,
bring a new
not that.
challenger in here for this last one.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Okay, Stanzi, in the flesh.
How's it
All right.
going? Have you
I
read
love
the High Republic?
Music. I have read most of the High Republic, but not all of it. But I'm new to the game, but I have read up to the point of them having Zetar take Marchian's side in the big mech suit.
Marchion's side, yeah. Sorry.
I always said Marchian, and I'm gonna say it every time as Marchian now on, just to annoy you.
Oh, that's fine.
Marchion,
Reddit.
Marchion.
Marchion.
It's all good.
The audiobooks do that enough.
Oh yeah. 'Cause how many times have we had different interpretations of the word Twi'lek?
Yeah.
Marianne, you got something?
But nothing grinds my gears more than Coral
No, because I just
Scant.
gave mine, didn't I? I thought I just had my turn.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
let's start with a K Stanzi guess.
yeah, please.
My guess? Can I pass the first one? I just got here to put me in the hot seat already.
This
but
is the
Okay.
last one.
This is the last one. Oh, I don't know. I mean, and Zelen feels like a fake word. That's my guess.
And Zelen is not a fake word. That is incorrect.
Technically, aren't all words fake? So I'm kind of right.
No, because
They're
I
as
believe in
real as
them,
the
so they're
utility
real.
would derive from them.
Even them.
But we've seen several, and we'll continue to see several more.
Also, format your answers as you real fans would know. All right, it's up in the air. Everyone's gotten it incorrect. Or rather, every other person has attempted, so you can reattempt now. Oh, except for Stanzi. Sorry.
Okay, I want to try again.
Go ahead, Marianne.
A real fan would know that Clouds is not a correct rank.
That is incorrect. It is a correct rank.
Okay. I really need to reread phase one. Oh my
Is
god.
it real fans would know that Zetar took someone else's side?
You said that you're at the part where he takes his side. You just read it.
I think I did, but now you're making me question, man. You're giving me this cognitive dissonance, all right?
That's incorrect.
You're Mandela affecting me, all right? I'm remembering it incorrectly, I guess. Well, it all sounds correct, man.
You know what sounds like a really cool Star Wars name is Kit Cloudkicker. Remember him from Tailspin? That sounds like a Star Wars name.
Kid's son. Fisto's son. Kid Fisto.
All right. I got one. It's pretty. It's a nice little weird one, but I gotta try something. I'm gonna say that, of course, a real fan would know that there was not strife in the upper ranks. It was just Pan Eta versus Marchion.
I would argue that they are in the upper ranks, and that causes strife, especially when you get your group to start to take sides.
That's the only answers I got are things that we could both say. I argue that.
I will say this: one of you got dangerously close.
It was me.
I
know
love the
it's
confidence.
I know. Listen, I know that it's Zetar took Marchian side over. It's one of those names in those three. That's wrong. It's one of those three names in the last sentence, man. I know Element is like, oh, he's so close to cracking it. Look at his face. Look at him. He's like, I don't want to tell him.
I'm also shaking my head, dude.
No,
I know it, man. It's about to bust out my
Oh my glorb! Come on,
Coming
brain.
Storm book.
dangerously close.
Do we get a book hint where this takes place? It's Coming Storm, isn't it?
Rising Storm. This is in the
Rising
Rising Storm. Yes.
Element, I will reach through the screen right now. I will Vader Zoom call you. Force choke you through the Zoom call.
The only other thing I've got is not.
Does it make sense why this one is so long?
I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot.
No, that's not right. Because he does. God, brain. Like now I'm trying to pick at stuff that isn't pickable.
Look, even DePaul in the chat's like so close. But what so close?
DePaul, I've already challenged you.
Who's close? That's what I want to know.
Mr. Champion, man.
15 different guesses.
Who's close?
One of you was onto something.
Here's the track. You guys landed right on it.
Ah, come on.
One of y'all
I
tripped
just win.
over it.
No,
That's
I
what
didn't really
happened.
go. All right.
All right, Texan.
A real fan would know Zetar is not an Enzelin.
That is correct.
I was so Bro! I was my first guess, man!
I know.
You almost gave it away!
I tried to keep the most stoic face, and I was like, do I accept it? Do I not accept it? Do I? He said it doesn't sound like a real word. Bobby Frick is an Anzellan, and we've seen him before. We're gonna see him again in the upcoming season of The Mandalorian.
He was a Talpini!
Oh
But I added the who wears a mech suit to make up for his small size to try and bury that lead.
Yeah,
if I didn't add that, I felt like you would pick up on Anzellan more.
Damn it! I almost had it in one, dude.
I know. I was like,
if only your guess wasn't, it's a fake word.
Fake word, fake franchise.
Hey. Again.
I'm coming for you next, DePaul. You're on the list. I'm gonna take that title belt.
Is there a title belt?
No, but he said it, so now I need it.
So now we need to know what next week's Real Fans would be. Because I do believe we have Andrew DeMolanta coming on. And he knows everything.
yeah. He knows everything. We'll stick to the films. Maybe we'll make it specific
shows.
to a trilogy. Oh, or shows.
The shows.
Return of the Jedi. Real fans would know Wookiee and Ewok special.
Because he is a movie trivia champion, but don't know how much he knows about the shows. So maybe we'll just do it specifically to the TV shows.
Is he not one with the shores?
Now, I'm not sure if I have mentioned this before, but I am also suggesting that the first the first dyad after a show ends should be just on that show on that season.
This is true. So
coming up, we'll get a Bad Batch season 2 full episode.
Okay. Well,
I have to actually watch that season now.
do it.
I like this season a lot more than last
It's
season.
so good.
It's not that I don't like
really
it. I've been
good.
sitting on my hands until it all comes out.
It's so good.
That is a valid
loving it.
method.
That is a valid method, but then you don't get to make constant content that is so egregiously wrong about guesstimations you make.
Or just like me.
Listen, I have
you go
plenty
and
of
you watch
Star
it
Wars
and you
fans
don't
call
make
me
content
slurs on a
anyway.
regular basis based
That's
on
why I
the
stick to
content
the
I already make.
music. I stick with music because my theories are just not. Yeah, that's why I stick with music.
Hey, we're Force lore people, not clone people too. We defer to Danielle and many others who are experts on the clones in that regard.
Right.
Now, this being said, and yes, we are over time and are going to wrap up soon. But before we go, both Marianne and Kay Stanzi joined after we spoke Bad Batch, so I'd love to get both of their thoughts. Or Stanzi hasn't seen it yet, but I'd love to hear Marianne's thoughts.
And try to
Okay,
be
so
as
I
vague as
love it.
possible.
Okay, sorry. Ugh.
You can spoil it. I don't care.
Oh, okay, I have been loving the Bad Batch season 2 so far. These last 2 episodes, I'm not gonna lie, they wrecked me. I can't explain why the end of episode 8. Like, I was depressed for like 2 days. Like, I was sitting at work the next day, just like zoned out, and my poor patients are just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." But
It's the same as me, right? If you watch, the title of our reaction is "Why did this make me cry?"
I I was oh my god! But the music really caught my attention.
You should avoid
this time.
Last of Us then.
Yeah.
Bro.
I need to catch up on that one. But the
Bro.
music, I don't know if you guys noticed in the music. Did you guys hear the clone theme? The clones theme in both episodes. So at the end of episode 8, I could hear the clone theme interweaving with Omega's theme and then the Bad Batch theme. Like, it was all very subtle, but it was there, and it struck me as interesting because you always assume like Echo was a part of the Echo's part of the Batch, so that's his theme as well. But then he's separating. I'm sorry, K-Stancy. He's separating. So now, because for his brothers, he's looking for his brothers, right? So now we've got the clone theme playing as he's watching them leave. And so, I think that's what killed me was the music, was the clones theme, because I love the clones theme, and I think that's what really got to me. But I'm still hung up on episode 3. Was it 3 with Cody and Crosshair? Because the end of that episode, there was no Bad Batch end theme. It was a solemn end credit theme, and I don't know why, and I want to know why. But with every other episode, it's always been the end credit theme of the Bad Batch, which is their theme, but not episode 3. Exactly. Episode 3 was not. So something.
And it's so cold and sterile. And
exactly.
You're just like...
Something is coming, and these 2 episodes, I don't think they were it. I don't think this is what they were, foreshadowing. I think there's something else coming. I just don't know what it is. But people are theorizing like a clone rebellion and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, I'm loving it. I love it a lot.
I love that because it was essentially the music for me too. I think when I was in my own pain at the end of that episode, and then I came back to it, I was like, oh god, it's the clone music. It's the clone music.
It was, oh god, it was, oh, I'm fine now, but that for like 2 days, I was just not fine.
I've never related to a character so much before than those brief seconds with Omega, just being like, well, hold on, no.
No.
It was heartbreaking. So heartbreaking.
Everything that has transpired has done so according to my design.
Yeah, screw that man. I'm over him. So mad at him.
Okay, we got everybody's thoughts on the Bad Batch. We're gonna wrap this up. Kstanzi, you came in at the tail end. You called in. Is there anything you want us to talk about really quickly before wrapping up?
The Bad Batch is definitely the most Star Wars. That is my current thoughts about it. My secondary thoughts are Star Wars.
Hey,
Yes.
there's no better way to Star Wars than to Star Wars your Star Wars, right?
Exactly.
And with that, we'd like to thank Dexon, Marianne, and Kstanzi for calling in and providing us with company.
And
We always
insight.
appreciate it.
I brought insight.
Yeah, you gave me that win,
Insight.
bro. I was all like, let me
As
piggyback off Kstanzi.
As well as being correct and incorrect in the same vein.
From a certain point of view.
Exactly. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you also to Naughty Wookie for our largest super chats in a while. The $50 truckload drop. Thank you for your support and welcome to the community. We hope to see you in future episodes of Dyad in the Force, as well as Kenny, DePaul, Haley, Connor, everyone else that tuned in. But I believe that's the end. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are all the Republic.
And next time we'll talk about Kylo Ren's reasoning for joining the dark side. May the Force be with you.